Hi there. So let's talk about the verdict. It came back quick. Just over 3 hours, I think. That included lunch, electing a foreperson and filling out the paperwork. That was not a long time at all. However, they are going on a preponderance of evidence. And since Donald Trump's team did not put on any evidence, any witnesses or anything else like that, it was an easy decision. I want to focus on E Jean Carroll and what might be going on with her. Now, I don't know her. I've not spoken to her. I don't know her personality. So this is me, I suppose, using her as a generalization to give context. Now, for a lot of people, this will seem like it's over. She won. That's it. And the reporting kind of was like that to start off with yesterday when they were discussing, you know, how she looked when she left the courthouse, all smiles from her and her team and, you know, buoyant steps and everything else. And that will be the case to start off with. Her fight to be heard and be taken seriously and hold Donald Trump accountable. And this is a court of law that has done that. This isn't just E Jean Carroll saying this. This is all of her witnesses and the jury on a preponderance of evidence. And we have to respect that, whether we agree with the jury or not. And I've been through this with the Murdoch trials. I didn't agree with the jury on the guilty verdict. I couldn't get there, but that's what they decided. They were in the room. They were the ones discussing it. And it's up to them what evidence they find credible, what evidence they don't. So the verdict itself, they didn't find for rape, but they did for sexual abuse and defamation. And that's a mixed bag because, you know, the people who don't like her, the people who really support Trump regardless, are going to say that that's a conflicting verdict. And it's not. It's not. And of course, we weren't in the courtroom, but there are some reports saying that Donald Trump's genitalia came into question over whether it was long enough to reach. You know, this is something that Stormy Daniels and other women have said about Donald Trump. So that one would have been harder to agree on. And if there is any doubt, then, you know, or if there's more than, you know, 49% doubt, then you can't find for that. It's not a conflicting verdict. But that is going to be something that is going to affect E Jean Carroll. So right now, she's buoyant, she won. She has been vindicated. She has been validated by 3 women and 6 men on a jury. And that is going to be an amazing moment for her. She is going to be relieved and have a lot of an emotional reaction. But the reality is this kind of court case is step 50 in what could be 150 steps to actually having all of this over and done with, because appeals and you know, delaying tactics and everything else, which we know Trump is known for in court cases. It's been widely reported that delaying tactics is something that gets used. So this is step 50. Much like a funeral isn't the end of your grief, it is really the start of the grieving process moving forward. That's what this is. So yes, she's won. She's been vindicated and validated, not just her, but the witnesses that testified to their experiences and what had happened for them in the presence of Donald Trump, Natasha Stoynoff, the lady that was on the aeroplane that I forget her name and I apologize. And, you know, that is a wonderful feeling for them. They've not been able to do this, so they've been rooting for E Jean Carroll because their experience is very, very similar. Unfortunately, with highly public or publicized trials like this, there is also the societal weight. You are carrying the banner for every victim of sexual assault, sexual abuse, the defamation that often comes afterwards. You are carrying that banner and that weight of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of women and men who haven't had that vindication, that validation, that day in court. So there's a societal weight. I watched one news report where Natasha Stoynoff was very eloquently talking about her experience, what it was like to be on the stand, and how she felt when the verdict came in. And the newscaster said to her, you know, thank you very much for being so brave on the stand and doing, you know, what you've done. And on behalf of all women, all victims, you know, you've done a great service. You were brave for them. And that is a big weight. Not only are you dealing with your own stuff, but now you've got everyone else's baggage as well. And that is going to be difficult. She is also going to be inundated with press requests, statements, responses, interviews, and yes, it's newsworthy, but also she is a victim. The court have said she is a victim, and regardless of how you feel, a court of law has said she is a victim. This did happen, and all of these press requests, while it is newsworthy, and she knows that, you know, she's a writer, it's also reliving her trauma for the benefit of news and entertainment. And that's the same for any victim that is talking out, that is, you know, working with charities or whatever else. You're reliving that trauma every time you talk about it. You know, I'm talking about this, reliving my own experiences. So it's a mixed bag. It really is. And of course, you know, Trump's team have already said they're going to appeal, so she now has to prepare for that. And although, you know, $5 million is a lot of money to most of us, she's got lawyers' fees, she's got expert fees. She now has to prepare for the appellate court because Trump, of course, it is his right to appeal. He, you know, everyone has that right. And she's still living with this. She is still living and breathing this case and will be for a while. This could take years. It could be fast-tracked. It could happen very quickly, or it could take years again. You know, this situation has taken years to get here, 4 years, 5 years. It could be another 2 before this is finally settled. And then there's delaying tactics with payments and everything else. All while knowing that the re-election campaign, Donald Trump, and all of these other people have sent out emails asking their donors for money because, you know, witch hunt and everything else. There is still this refusal to accept accountability on the other side. And regardless of who that is really hard to deal with. You know, I've had it where someone has completely admitted what they did, but then refused to take accountability. And it's, you know, it's really hard to deal with that. E Jean Carroll still has a long way to go. She's fought really hard to get her life back on track, and she is now starting to enjoy life again. She is still, I hope, getting, I believe, she is getting mental health help and trauma help. And money doesn't magically make that better. Money makes life easier. It doesn't make you happy. that comes from inside. So she's also having to do that work, and rebuild her career. This helps. This verdict really helps. That she isn't a liar, that she has told the truth. A court of law has said that. She will probably now be able to pick up pieces of her career that were shattered when she was defamed. But that doesn't give her back the last 30 years. So it's a mixed bag. There is going to be some elation. There is going to be some happy moments, but it is still going to be a difficult thing for her to process. And that weight, that societal weight, is a really big issue when you have such a highly publicized trial. Her winning does not shield her from the abuse, the hate, the death threats, the stalking, the doxing, which is disgusting behavior. Anyone who does anything like that because they don't like a verdict, regardless, you have to respect what a court finds. And terrorizing the victim, the person who won, because you don't like them, is a terrible thing. And she's going to have to go, deal with that. She's been dealing with that for a very long time. That is probably not going to go away anytime soon. And, for her family, her friends, her employers, her work, that is going to be an issue. And that is the same for the other witnesses who have spoken about, the threats and things that they've got. And the very fact that the judge has said to the jury, I would advise you to keep your identity and your ties to this case, your work here on this case, completely secret for a long time. Deny it if the press come to you, deny it if anyone comes to you, don't give out your name. The fact that was necessary proves, and it's not just this judge, and it's not just this district. This is happening in Georgia and other places, because Trump and his supporters, Trump is still denying it. The first thing he did after the trial was tweet or send a truth about the fact that he doesn't know this woman, despite the deposition and his words, knowing who she was and discussing her husband and everything. He knew exactly who she was. But he is still saying that, and he is still calling it a witch hunt. And that's going to be difficult for people to deal with as well, but it also riles up the supporters and brings in the money. It's all about the grift. Like, my heart goes out to E Jean Carroll and the other witnesses. I think it's really important to remember that this wasn't an easy process for them. And yes, there is vindication and elation and, validation. That doesn't mean it's over. That doesn't make the trauma go away, and it doesn't make it any easier to rebuild your life, your career, whatever. And I think we need to have a bit of compassion for that. And I would urge, not that I have a lot of sway at all. Well, I don't have any sway. I would urge people to leave her alone. Leave her alone. Don't hound her for press interviews. Don't hound her for comments every time the other team of lawyers open their mouth or submit paperwork. Let her come to terms with this in her own way. And when she is ready, if she is ever ready, and it is her right not to do these interviews. It's her right now to lead a quiet life if that's what she wants. I would urge people to leave her and the other witnesses alone. And don't be that person. Do not be that person that hounds these people. Respect the law and all, the rule of law. Justice is blind, and the most patriotic thing anyone can do is support that, and understand that the law applies to everyone. It's exactly what the founding fathers had in mind when they wrote the laws and the Bill of Rights and everything else. Is justice is blind. Everyone can be and will be held accountable. Money and power and position shouldn't affect that, and this is part of that process. You know, if you want the Biden family locked up, you trust the system to do that. So you have to trust the system, even if you don't get the result that you want. So that's me for now. This is part one. I'm going to talk about the other side and Joe Tacopina a little bit more in another video. If you like my work, if you're enjoying these videos and looking at things from a human and behavioral aspect, then hit the like button, let me know that I'm doing a good job. Leave a comment, join in the conversation, keep it respectful, and remember, it's not about politics, it's about people. And consider subscribing. Thank you very much for being here. Have a great day, and I will speak to you soon.